Good afternoon, everyone. This is Dr. Rundles. And today, for a moment of motivation, I want to talk from a process of thought, the purpose of trials. Maybe a side note was no more feeling worthless. And how many know in the times and days we live in, how many know we go through different and various trials and various circumstances? How many realize, how many have ever said this? I can't get it together because I was rejected by the people who should have loved and accepted me. My God, how many people have ran away but haven't left yet? Ah, my goodness, in here. I love what James tells us. He says, count it all joy when you fall into diverse temptations. Oh my God. How many know not if you fall, but when you fall? Oh my God, into diverse temptation. It's one thing to fall down. And I fall down, you fall down, and all the king men fall down. The question is, are you going to stay down or are you going to get back up again? As we dive into what James, the brother of Jesus, said in chapter 1, he tells us in this particular text, he said, my brethren, count it all joy when you fall into diverse temptation, knowing this, that the trying of your faith worketh something, worketh patience. But let patience have her perfect work, that you may be perfect and entire and wanting nothing. As we begin to look at the purposes God intent for our lives, and how many realize that nothing haphazardly happens to us. There is a reason, there is a purpose for everything that we deal with and go through in life. He says the purpose of trials. How many realize the word looks at us? Joy during trials produces patience and spiritual maturity. So he tells us to count it our joy. And when we count it our joy, it produces patience and spiritual maturity. As I deal with it today, I thought about the four troubling T's that we deal with during this period of time. The first T is the biblical trials. The second one is tribulation. The third one is temptation. And the fourth one is testing. How many realize that count meaning in the Greek has two meanings. The first meaning, it means to lead. It means to guide or supervise. It's to think about it, consider it, regard it, hold on, an opinion. So the word fall into in this text means encounter, fall into, encounter, face, meet with. Oh my God, what I met with, whatever I fell into. How many know sometimes we don't choose the problem, but our problems choose us? But how many know, but God is saying today, but count it all joy. Oh my God, in here. I know it sounds oxymoron, but count it all joy. So he tells us when we fall into where various, different, diversified, many kinds and manifold temptations. Oh my God, he tells us to count it all joy. So if I look at it from a different perspective and I process this thought, in this text he's telling us trials, tests is just an examination of God. And I have to pass this to go to the next level. My God, I have to be able to go to the next level. So I have to go through this thing and I should go through it with joy. So he says temptation is enticement to do what's wrong. How many realize that choice of doing wrong is always there? But how many know, but I have to do the right thing, even when the right thing is not popular. So he tells us in here, count it all joy. Oh God, count is considered in the context to mean whole. Oh my God, he's telling me to count it, it's a whole. We are considered trials to be all joy. 100% joyful. My goodness. Pure delight. I know y'all think your process entirely reason to rejoice. My God, we are commanded to do something not naturally. We're commanded to begin considering trials and testing as entirely joyful, as a reason for nothing but joy. Woo! Whenever you fall, count it all joy. Because why? Trials is a process of approving. Oh, God in here. How many know that means God is accepting you and improving you? Oh, God. So he says in the text, so he tells me whenever you fall, count it all joy. My goodness here. How many realize that the only way you can grow to full maturity, our faith can only reach full maturity is when we face with trials of opposition. My God, James called these trials the trying of your faith. Trials are something brought into our life so that God can test the sincerity of our faith. Scripture nowhere teaches that trials in life are an indication that God is displeased with us. Instead, though, they indicate that God recognizes our faith and has confidence in our commitment to Him. How many realize that no trial, no test can come unless it first pass through the fingers of God? How many realize that the enemy goes up to bring these temptations, but how many realize that? But how many know he has to get permission from God to allow it to happen? And if God allows it to happen, how many know there's a blessing that comes along with it? Because why? Blessings goes along with persecution, and persecution with blessing. Yes. So James says testing, trial, proving is a process by which something that is genuine, real is determined. Patient endurance has a Greek noun hyperman, refers to the ability to stand or hold up during difficulty. My God, in here, you do all you can do, you stand therefore. Look at here. So he says, James said, where? Then he says that by letting her have a perfect work, that you may be perfect and entire, and you be wanting nothing. So he tells us it reflects a biblical ideal of maturity. When he says perfect, he's talking about maturity. Having her perfect work, meaning where defined as a right relationship with God, bearing fruit in sincere endeavors to love Him with one's heart, undivided devotion to God, obedience and blamelessness. So he tells us as we close, perfect. This indicates that the patient endurance is not only a result of God is seeking, it is means to a greater end. Oh God, our complete spiritual maturity. Wanting nothing. Psalm says like this, the Lord is, oh my God, He is my shepherd. And with God on my side, I shall not want. Everything I need, He is. He is our strength during times. He's a refuge. He's a shelter to us. In every situation of our life, you have to understand that God is there with us. My God, even in the midst of what you're going through, oh my God, is a reason to rejoice. God is using those trials to sanctify you and conform you to the image of His Son, Jesus Christ. And we give God praise today. Oh my God. And we understand this afternoon, the purpose of trials. Oh God, that God has a stamp of approval on you and that we'll reach to maturity. May this be a blessing to you today. God bless.